That makes me want to unpack the first part, okay? Because you talked about being able to connect with everybody in the room. And when it comes to vulnerability, I think I can understand that one well. Like you're showing a part of yourself and you're not holding back and you're showing your true self and maybe even some of the things that aren't all, sunshines and rainbows. You're exposing some of the pieces of you that might be a little more edgy, a little more sensitive, and it makes people realize that, hey, you're human too. We're all human. We connect. But you also spoke about how when you're able to connect with the entire room, I'm wondering, is this an activity of doing any kind of research? Is there some key things we're supposed to prepare if we're doing a talk when it comes to who we're delivering the talk to that makes us more effective to be able to connect with the room?
So that's a great question, Jason. And your message, whether your message is 5 minutes or it's 50 minutes or it's 5 hours, should have a construction to it. And there are some parts of that construction, research is the best, and facts and clarity. And then there's some parts where it's simply about curating your story and your experience, where we all can deliver the same content. We all can go grab a book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, or The Success Principles by Jack Canfield, or anything, right? We can grab that content and we can repurpose that content and honor their legacy, honor their lives by teaching their content. But no one has lived your story. So when you look at the construct of an effective message, again, whether it's 3 minutes, 30 minutes, 3 hours, or 3 days, there's this construct, this skeleton, this formula, this framework that you want to have. And part of that framework is you want to give clear content, right? But the other part is you want to give impactful, relatable stories that you don't research, that you follow this formula and you develop an effective story. Now, without having it behind me and to show you, I call it the valley technique. So if you think about a valley, you've heard about this before. I taught you this years ago. You've mastered it now. You're amazing now. So if you look at a valley, you have a peak, you have a low point, and you have a peak, right? So if you're going to tell a story like a valley. Always that way you don't get lost in it. Most people get lost in the first peak. They stay there way too long, or they get swallowed up in the valley and they can't get out and they go way too long. So when you follow this formula, which I'm so excited that you mentioned the challenge, because I'll be teaching this formula in the challenge in details. I will have slides. I will have things that you can look at, things you can fill in. It'll be a lot easier to follow. But in the valley, you talk about the big you, let's say 30 seconds. And you do it in a way that comes across very humble. I'm blown away. I'm blown away that I have 7 bestsellers. This is the big me. So it's the big you. I'm blown away. I'm amazed that my brand touches over 80 million people a year. Big me. I'm blown away that I'm the CEO of a multi-million-dollar business that serves globally. Big me. Now the valley. Watch this. I'm blown away because it wasn't always that way. There was a time, true story, there was a time when I was broke and broken. There was a time in 1994 when I wondered, how did I get here again? How is it that my son doesn't have resources? I don't have resources to buy my son Pampers. How is it that I'm on government's assistance? How is it that I need food stamps to feed my baby? See the valley. I'm in the valley. And you're down here for, let's say, 2 minutes. Remember, 30 seconds, 2 minutes. And now you come back up. And I told myself in 1995, I will never be this broken again. And that's why I'm so committed to teaching anyone that I can how to transform your life into something barely recognizable. So what I just did was I did the big me for credibility. I did the valley for relatability. And then I did the why for why I do what I do. So when you ask the question research, Yes, research the parts where you're giving content, you get information, but break up your content with a story. What you've seen me do hundreds of times on stage is I give clear points and then I do a story. Then I give clear points and then I do a story. What it does is it gives texture to your entire message. Now, that's true if you are on stage or if you're on social media. It's true everywhere. It's never not the formula. Only never not, double negative. It's never not the formula. Everywhere you go, if you want to keep people engaged, how speakers lose their audience or find themselves disconnected from their audience is that they stay in content way too long, thinking that they're confirming their credibility. But instead, they are boring the audience after a while because we don't know the human. We don't know the you. And so I hope that answered your question. I know I went about it a different way, but I want to teach people how to reconstruct what a average and ordinary message to construct an extraordinary message.
I love that you went there, Lisa, because I have to share a story of listening to you share some of your talks using that formula. I know them. I know a lot of your amazing stories because I've seen you over 10 years at so many stages. And every time I hear them, they're always a little different. And every time I hear them, I do relate to them. And it's so strange. I don't have any children, but you'll share a story about how it was like raising your child, having to buy the diapers and going through that dip. I never went through that experience. So why would I have empathy if it's not a direct story I can empathize to? But it's incorrect. No, I can empathize to it even though I didn't experience that. And that brings the relatability, even if I've went through that personally myself or not. And so the question of how to connect with an entire room is when you use that formula with the valley, you get to reach out to everybody because we've all experienced highs and lows in various aspects of our life. And so I've seen myself be drawn into your message. I've seen myself drawn into every one of your talk using examples that I haven't directly experienced, yet I
Yeah,
still found myself relating to you.
yeah.
And you speak
May I
about the
tell you a
power.
secret really quick
Oh,
about that?
please do.
There's one technique that I'm doing while I'm doing the valley that gets you, and that technique is called scooping. So there's an actual technique called scooping. And what I do when I'm telling a story to grab you, someone who we have probably 20 years difference in age, different gender, different nationality, and different place of origin, and you don't have children. The way that I grab you, and it's a technique that I teach, is called scooping, so that my story becomes our story. I just wanted to tell you that. So there's a technique inside the technique. So the valley also has scooping inside of it. Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to the Selling with Love podcast. We have some previous episodes you can tune into right here. And if you prefer the short form content where you get to the point in under 10 minutes, we do have a ton of clips from our best episodes that are being shared on this channel as well. So pick which one supports you the most. And of course, thank you for liking, subscribing, and of course, selling with love.